Okay, this is... I think it's moving. This is the real intro. I actually just got a new light. So this is the first video that I'm filming. Not the first video that you're gonna see, because the first video you're gonna see is probably a bunch of other things. But this is the first one I'm filming with the new light. So we're gonna see how that goes. I'm wearing my cool blanket because my skin is on fire. Super fun. We are currently watching the Florida State Boston College game. I'm not a fan of either one. I would prefer Boston College to win. I would love, I'm gonna be really sad if some people are Florida State fans in the comments, but I would love for Florida State to not win a single game. But anyway, we're going to be doing the Illumicrate video. So like I said, this isn't the real intro, but it basically is the real intro. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. So last one that we did, last catch-up vlog, was a fairy loot. I think that is the third fairy loot. We're gonna switch over to Illumicrate. It's been a while since we did the first Illumicrate one, and I don't remember it going super well. I read Empire the Vampire, which was amazing. So I kind of did go really well, at least for that one. So I figured I would get my Illumicrate jar that we got. I really like this one. These are all currently the Illumicrate books that I have not read yet. There's quite a few. And I figured we would just, you know, do it this way. I think last time I did the wheel for Illumicrate, or for Fairy Loot, I figured we'll do the jar for this one. So the hope is we pick 3 really, really good ones. And the hope is that they were all in this room because I think there's a couple upstairs, but a lot of our Illumicrates are over here. Yep, a lot of Illumicrates are behind me and everywhere. So I'm really hoping that it is a book in this room or in my bedroom. Really hope so. So that is kind of the vibes. We're gonna pick this, I'm gonna go shower, and then I'm gonna start reading it, and hopefully it's really good. Oh. Do you guys like ASMR? I really, really don't like ASMR. Okay, anyway, sidetracked. I'm very all over the place if you couldn't tell today. This is why this is not the real intro. I am very tired. My husband and I, it is Labor Day. It is Monday. It's Labor Day. My husband and I felt like we were in college again. It's been, when did I graduate college? I graduated undergrad in 2015. So it's been almost 20 years. It's almost been 10 years since I was an undergrad, and I can't do the shit that we did this weekend, and I'm pretty sure is why my skin is still so angry and it's still stuck in kind of a flare-up, because I stayed up till 3 Friday night, 3 Saturday night, and we stayed up till 4 last night. Never do that, but I was reading so much and watching Hallmark movies. Great time. So can't do that. Definitely gonna try and go to bed at like 10 tonight. I did nap today, so that was good. I'm putting it off. Because I'm really nervous, because Illumicrate's scary. Illumicrate is very scary. So let's pick a book from the jar, and they are pretty mixed up. There's like a ton of space in here compared to how many books that I have left. They're very differing sizes because I just ripped them up. So let's just go with this one. Okay, I don't know which way it opens. Oh man, the Sun in the Void. This is the one that I didn't want. This is, oh no. So let me go grab it and we'll talk about it. Okay, the Sun in the Void. This is the one that I did not want. I'm actually a huge fan of this author, her artwork. I actually was a part of her Patreon for like 2 years or a year or something like that, and I got a bunch of pins from this artist, and I love being part of the Patreon. I was just downsizing my pin collection and doing that kind of stuff, so and moved over to supporting more booktube people on Patreon instead of pins. I just don't have room for pins anymore. So huge fan of this person as an artist and as a person, of what I've seen. I've heard terrible things about this book, like really awful things about this book, which makes me so nervous, because it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It sounds really good, even though it's been a while and I can't remember what it's like, if I remember it sounding good, but I just don't want to dislike this. So my expectations are really low, which could mean I'll really like it and I'll end up being like pretty high up. What's the book about? I feel like I just read that. and I don't really know what it's about. So that's a little confusing. It is 522 pages. Oh man, that is chunky. That is very chunky. So we're gonna attempt to go try to read this one. I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous, and I'm really hoping it's not a DNF like a lot of people say it is. So we're gonna give it the old college try. And I tried really hard in college, so I'm gonna try really hard to read this. And I will be back with a update. It is 9 o'clock at night, Wednesday. It is 9 o'clock at night on Wednesday. I should have DNF'd this earlier, but I am DNFing this on the void. I did get 100 pages in, and I am super sad because this is so pretty. It like feels nice to read, nice to hold. It's one of those books. But this is like, I don't even know where to start with this. I was actually kind of really enjoying this at the beginning. I liked the writing, but the longer this went on, just the more dense and pointless the whole story felt. It's really a matter of this book is saying a lot and saying nothing at the same time. I literally don't understand the point of anything that's happening. There's no storyline. I'm 100 pages in. It is 500 pages, but I am 100 pages in and there is no storyline. I feel like I've been reading this for a week. I am not enjoying it to the point that it's like, that's the sad part. I think I would enjoy it if it was less dense. There's a lot of stuff described that doesn't need to be described. There are so many characters, so many different things relating to the magic system in this that I am like struggling so hard to keep up with what's happening. It's just really difficult to keep everything straight in your head, and the two different perspectives read so similarly. Like the two characters are like identical. Like they have no distinguishing features between the two of them. They are the same person practically, and that drives me nuts. If you're gonna have two different perspectives, they better be different. Like I better be able to tell who is talking other than the plot being so different. So I just don't like the plot that is in either one, and the problem is I'll read a chapter about like in one perspective and then I'll go to the next perspective and I'm like, what's happening in this one? Like that's how forgettable everything is and how like just not it. Just not it is. Sadly, I can't bring myself to read another 400 pages of this. I think if this was, I was gonna say if this was like 300 pages, I would think about it, but this just needed to be edited down so much. The writing style is very formal, over the top. It is very almost like the author's trying to prove something, like, hey, I can write really well, like this stuff is just too much. And it definitely feels like an author just trying to prove that they can write, and it's unnecessary. Like this person clearly can write well, it's just way too over the top and dense for what I prefer in my books. So I do get why people don't like this. I don't think it's like, I don't hate it, I just am not having a good time, and I have, like I said, I'm the DNF queen this year. If I am not having a good time, I am not going to read something. And like I said, I have another 420 something pages to read in this book. I'm not doing that. So we are DNFing this one, sadly. I am not altogether surprised because of the things that I've heard about this book. It is still upsetting because this is one of my favorite designs for that Illumicrate has done in a while. So very upset about that. So we're going to go ahead and pick our next book so I can start it tonight, because I am going to go shower, which is why I look a mess. I look a mess. I was working on my library today and doing that kind of stuff, so I'm just kind of and I've been reading that all day, and I just finished cooking and we just finished dinner, and so a lot of stuff going on. So let's pick the next one so I can start that tonight after I shower. I do need to go to sleep actually at a normal time tonight because I have a checkup dentist appointment tomorrow for the issues I've been having with my teeth. I have to actually get up early tomorrow morning to go to that appointment tomorrow, instead of getting up super late, staying up late and getting up late these past couple of days. So let's choose our next Illumicrate pick. This is so annoying because I've spent 2 days reading that book, but I still have 3 books that I need to read since that ended up being a DNF. So that's super disappointing. So this one, ooh, it's a small one. It is a small one. Witch King. Ta-da! I feel like I haven't heard great things about this one either. I do like the Murderbot series, but it is significantly different than what this is. So I don't know if I'm going to like this. I do love the designs for this one though. I hope it's just easier to read. Like, I hope it's just like less dense. So this one looks quite chunky. This one looks quite chunky. I think it is a B format. It looks pretty small, but it is quite long. So it's 400 pages. I thought I was gonna say 500, but it's about 400 pages. So I guess we'll get started on Witch King. I'm DNFing Witch King. I can see people liking this one. Okay, so I'm really sad because I'm expecting to really like this one because I really like Martha Wells's Murderbot series, but it's totally different tones. It is two totally different tones, and it is first thing in the morning, so I look like a mess. But it's totally different tones, and I don't enjoy the tone that this is. The problem is this is like the type of fantasy I don't like reading, which is more like a higher type of fantasy, like everything about it is higher fantasy, and I just don't enjoy it. I don't like using my brain that much. I know that sounds awful from like a reader, but I just don't. Like I just well, this is really shaky. I just don't like using my brain that much. If I'm going to use my brain that much, it's to get through some Brandon Sanderson books. So, like, I'm in the middle of, I'm in, like, the first 2 chapters of Mistborn, and that is taking all of my willpower to try and get through. So I don't have any other willpower left to get through this one. And it was going okay. The first chapter was fine. The problem is we got into, like, the past. So actually this in the second chapter it got kind of boring, and there's too many people introduced already. Again, I didn't really like the world already, and I didn't like the magic, and the story got into this point where they went into the past, and I was just like, I totally checked out. I completely checked out of the story, and I was like, I can't do this for the rest of the book because there's like more. There's more that happens in the past. So I can't continue this. And it's just, it's very dry. It's very dry. There's just, it's everything I don't like about fantasy books. Like, I want to have almost, not a silly, goofy time. I don't want it to be difficult to understand. And I was already just like, what's happening? And it just feels depressing already. So I'm just like, no, this would be one that I would read the first chapter in the bookstore and then be like, okay, I know a lot of people who really like this, but I'm not gonna like it. And again, the magic is kind of weird and kind of grotesque, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm living my happy, goofy life on the side reading Apprentice to the Villain, and then I started this and I was like, no, this is not what I want to read. This is not, and there's just, if I put this down, I'm not going to pick it back up. That's one of the things, like, part of me would consider, if I was not doing this video, part of me would consider soft DNFing it and putting it to the side and then picking it up again, but I know for a fact I won't pick it back up. That's just, like, I know for a fact I won't pick it back up. I don't like really pretty much anything that's happening. And again, the writing's fine. It's just very dry and boring for me. So I'm going to stick to the Murderbot series because I love that series as I'm currently reading it. So let's pick another Illumicrate book. I am concerned. I have a bad feeling that I'm going to get to the end of this video and I'm gonna be like, I have to get rid of Illumicrate. I'm not happy about it. So I'm hoping it's in this room. I have the Phoenix Keeper, Mistress of Lies. Is that all of the Illumicrates I have in here? I have a lot of Fairy Loots in here. I think that's all the Illumicrate. Dang, I thought I had more in here. There might be some on the side, but those are like the 2 that I can see, and I would be very interested in reading. Oh man, I really need to audit Alumicrate. That might be a video I do after this one, because this is a long one, because this is bad. What does this one say? to gaze upon wicked gods. Oh, God. I didn't want that one in this one. Oh, man. We're going to have to talk about probably controversy. Controversy? Probably going to have to talk about controversy when we talk about this one. But I listened to With Cindy's video about this one, so it gave me a better understanding about what's going on. And Cindy is in the same publishing house or something like that with this author. And this book, I'll show it in the next clip. I don't feel like getting it. It's in the other room. So this author is a debut author, and they were getting review bombed because a lot of people thought that this was a colonizer romance. And I read the ending gets spoiled. Like, the guy that she's in love with or something, or like catching feelings for, is clearly a villain character, and that's why it's kind of not a colonizer romance. But if you still have a problem with it, that's totally fine. Like, if you feel like it's a colonizer romance, that's kind of up to how you define, I feel like, colonizer romances, because she still is falling in love with not a great person. So Cindy did a video about it, and apparently the author's really, really nice. And Cindy was drunk texting her the entire time while reading her book. Like, girl, it's obvious this guy's a villain. So she didn't think it was really a colonizer romance, but she gets aspects of it. So if you want to go read, or if you want to go watch With Cindy's video about that, definitely go check it out. It had a lot of really good information, and it was very funny, as With Cindy normally does. So we're going to be reading To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. Oh, man. Again, this is, like, not going well. But I do think I have a better chance of liking it, potentially, because I don't like that kind of romance thing where the romance is, like, bound to fail because it's not good. I don't love that. So we're going to see how that one goes. So I will update you soon, hopefully with good news. I feel like this is kind of a weird angle, but it's fine. It's fine. Although I think it's like going in and out of focus. It is going in and out of focus. My only problem with this new thing is I like how tall it is. Like, it's really good tall wise, but it's very unstable. Like, I'm quite annoyed with the instability of it. So I like the height, but I don't know if the height is worth it versus the instability. And I should have known that when I bought it too. Like, I could tell, like, it wasn't exactly right, like with the stability. So I got the book. I haven't read anything yet, but I figured I would do a little bit of a library haul. I went to the library yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes, because I did the dentist yesterday. They checked on my teeth. I'm still having issues with my teeth. And then they did a cleaning, which made it so much worse yesterday. I'm feeling a little bit better this morning, thank God. But yesterday it was quite rough last night, and I didn't want to eat anything because it was hurting so bad. Okay, let's do a little bit of a library haul. Some of the books are older and about to be returned, but I get a lot of library books at one time because I am a mood reader and I have to be in very specific moods to read things. So I end up just I end up getting a lot of books and then just read what I like, and then a couple days later, if I haven't read it yet or wanted to pick it up, I'll return it so that someone else can get it. But first off, we have The Passengers. I'm really excited to read this. This is a John Mars book. I just love how he writes. Family Experiment was a 5-star that I read this year. I absolutely loved it. So I really want to read another John Mars. I have The Marriage Act, and this one seems like the one that I want to read though. Like, The Passengers seems really, really good. And I already know what happens in the one, so I am less inclined to pick that one up. So I kind of want to read one that I don't know anything about and no one has talked about. So that's why I picked up The Passengers. I am also still working on trying to get ahead of the game for Goodreads. This is probably going to be on the Goodreads Choice Awards list thing. So I need to read The Teacher by Frida McFadden. My dog is like running around. He's very excited right now. I have heard really good things about this one, James. This was an Aardvark pick that a lot of people were talking about and seemed really excited about. And this is like a retelling of, is it Huckleberry? Yeah, Huckleberry Finn. I have not read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So, but I've heard that you can read this without reading the original. So I'm gonna give it a try. It sounds good. I really wanted to read an Octavia Butler and I had never heard of this one. And so I picked up Pattern Master, and it's short. I like short books. It's the fourth in a series. So I'm going to go ahead and return this like right away, like probably today at some point, because I want to make sure someone else could read this since I obviously can't read it because I haven't read the first 3. I was so mad. I like opened it up and I was like, why are there so many series? And I saw the pattern of series. Wild Seed, Mind of... Oh, this is the 5th one in the series. And so I saw that and I was like, oh... Of course. So I gotta go find the first one or do a different Octavia Butler because I was thinking about reading Kindred, but it was pretty much entirely sold out. Again, not a library term. It was checked out, so I gotta go see if they have another copy somewhere. So definitely have to return that one. Dang it. And then this one I was so excited to see. Everyone's been talking about this one, Look in the Mirror. I was gonna get this from Aardvark the next time I wanted a book from Aardvark, but it already sold out because Aardvark only does like small amounts because they don't have as many subscribers. Although they're gonna have to change that because they're slowly building up a lot of subscribers with how they do social media and the book picks that they have. So I'm excited for this one. I think Gabby Reach just read this and thought this was interesting. It's also quite short, so I'm excited about that. So I haven't been excited for a thriller in a little bit, and I'm pretty excited for this one. Then, so I actually got my invite to Broken Binding for this cycle. Last cycle was The Martian and Project Hail Mary and Artemis. That's what I wanted. I was really sad that I didn't make it into that cycle, but I got into the second cycle and I did pass it because I don't think the series is gonna be for me. But the current cycle that Broken Binding is on is gonna be the 3 books in the 3-body problem. And this just doesn't seem like the sci-fi series to me, so I did skip it, but I saw it at the bookstore and I was like, let me make sure I made the right decision, because I have been like regretting the decision, so I'm really hoping I don't like this. It's weird going into a book being like, I hope I don't like this, and this is the case for this. So, but I do like these original covers, so even if I do like this series, the original covers are gorgeous, so it's one of those situations of I like the original covers enough that I wouldn't be devastated about missing out on special editions. But I'll still be kind of upset about it because I had it. I had the invite. And I was like, no, that would be wasting money. I haven't read the series. I don't know if I like it. So hopefully, I'm fingers crossed that the next cycle is really good because I'm back at the top of the waiting list or whatever for the next cycle. Next, I've been seeing a bunch of people reading this and loving it. Rainbow Rowell's Slow Dance. I have not read a Rainbow Rowell yet, but I like the premise. It's like a second chance romance almost, but it's following 2 characters who like knew each other in childhood but never had a relationship and then they meet later on. So I think that could be really fun, but I also think this could be heartbreaking. So I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one. Then again, we are trying to catch up with the Goodreads thing, the Goodreads possible picks, and this definitely could be one, although again I think this is going to end up being very much more literary fiction, kind of like God of the Woods was, all the colors of the dark, and I've seen a lot of people reading this and saying it's very boring, but it has such high ratings and so many people are reading it, so I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm not gonna force myself through this one. I don't really have any stakes and finishing, so we'll see about it. Then another pick is The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. I have not read The Wishing Game. I have it literally sitting right there because I would like to read that one first. And then the last one that I have, which I'm okay with returning because I have this on audiobook, but when I read an audiobook, I like to have the physical copy because a lot of times I'll switch to the physical copy when I'm not feeling the audiobook, which is very often. So One Perfect Couple, Ruth Ware. I'm a pretty big Ruth Ware fan. I've liked a lot of Ruth Ware books. A lot of people haven't loved this one. I have pretty high expectations and high hopes for this one. So I do have the audiobook. I will be listening mostly to the audiobook for this one. But yeah, I'm excited. This one sounds pretty good. This is like a reality TV kind of thing going on. So that is my library haul. Lots of books to pick from. I'm definitely most excited for the Catherine Steadman, which makes me nervous because I didn't like The Family Game. So that is my one holdup with that. But Look in the Mirror? I think it's Look in the Mirror. Yeah, Look in the Mirror is the one this and Passenger. The Passengers by John Mars and Look in the Mirror are the 2 that I definitely am like, I want to pick up soon and get to. So anyway, like I said, I was going to go grab the book. And here it is, To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. It is a gorgeous book. I wasn't expecting to have to talk about this one because I feel like I feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfy because people have had very strong feelings about this one. And I am generally someone who doesn't have very strong feelings about like a lot of stuff. It's very like small things that I have strong feelings about. So I am nervous that I'm going to hurt someone's feelings about this book. So hopefully it feels very clear cut, and I'll know how to talk about it when we get to it. Looks like the chapters are really short, which I really like. I'm a huge fan of short chapters. It's not super, super long. It's just about 300 pages, 340 pages. So let's get reading this one. It doesn't seem like one that I'm gonna end up liking, but we'll see. Quick update. An update I don't want to give. I am DNFing To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. So it's not even really like a DNF because I did not make it 50 pages into it. I just am not vibing. I'm not vibing with it. It definitely sending off some red flags. So I can see, having read some of it, and then I skimmed a bunch of it, and I read a bunch of reviews, and I read a bunch of things that happened in the book, and I read some of the dialogue, especially at the end, and I can see why people are calling it a colonizer romance, and why people are saying it's not. I can definitely see both sides of this, and you guys know me, I would normally like say my opinion on things, but this is definitely one of those cases where if you think it's one way, it definitely goes both ways. It's weird. It's weird. And I've read a lot about this book, like a lot about this, so that I can talk about it in a somewhat hopefully knowledgeable way, because there is quite a lot going on with this book. So I still might get some stuff wrong because it's all like secondhand knowledge, because a lot of stuff has supposedly been deleted from the internet, and things have changed, and reviews have been deleted, and there's just a lot going on with this book. So this was one of the authors that was targeted by the review bombers that were going around a couple months ago. I don't remember if it was part of the Kate Crane thing, but it was definitely one of the books that was targeted by the review bombers. Then it came out that like the arcs were going around and people were not happy with the subject matter within the book, because this was supposedly, everything is supposedly in this section. This is just what I have found secondhand, so I cannot say 100% that this is accurate, but it does seem like potentially, supposedly, the author and the publishing team for this author were saying this was enemies to lovers and marketing it as romantasy like that. So that is number one, that is a big problem. That is a big problem considering what this book kind of has in it. Then there's also the part of this where supposedly it is based off of Unit 731. If you don't know what Unit 731 is, I am not going to go through the details of that because it is horrible, but it was a situation where Japan was testing scientific things and just really awful things on a group of Chinese people. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know 100% specifics on it because it's disturbing, so I have not read in depth on Unit 731. So it is supposedly based off of that. However, the Japan aspect of it was changed to Roman. I don't know if that was an author choice or a publishing choice, but there were some Italian reviewers who were not so happy with that decision. And a lot of people said that if you're going to base it on Unit 731 or base it on something historical, it should be at least historically accurate with the two groups involved. So that was something that was definitely brought up a couple of times. And it does feel like the author wants you to like the character. Like it's like it feels like this is supposed to be a romantasy with the Roman character. And I feel that way especially because this is the Illumicrate copy and you don't put non-romantic interests on art like this. Like you really don't. That means this is a legitimate romantic choice for the character. So we have our main character on the front and you have supposedly our other main character on the back. So that does, in my opinion, kind of sway it to this was originally supposed to be and marketed as a romantic story between a colonizer and one of the people that is being colonized, which is very suspect. It is very suspect. And apparently, supposedly, when ARCs went out and people came back saying like, hey, this is not cool, the marketing changed, supposedly, to more of like a, hey, this isn't actually the romance, this is just talking about the Stockholm Syndrome-esque situation going on and how it is a thing where underprivileged or the oppressed people do find saviors in the people oppressing them. That is a thing the oppressors use against the oppressed, often to make them more sympathetic to them, and you can definitely feel that the sections that I read in here, but it doesn't feel like that was, I don't know, I didn't feel like the point. Like he definitely feels gross like throughout the book, but I didn't feel it overwhelmingly. He more felt almost like he felt like, oh gosh, I'm feeling I'm gonna hate some, like, I feel like I'm gonna get some hate from this. He felt like a Darkling character, and you know how much people have romanticized the Darkling character, even though he is not a good person. So it almost felt like kind of a situation like that. And I don't agree with some people saying that you know he's not gonna be the romance. Some of it reads like he is supposed to be the romance in the second book. Like it's gonna be potentially him making up for all of the things that he did. Now, I don't think that series is going in that direction anymore, if it was, but I think it had the potential to go in that direction based on the art, based on the campaign for this book, based on what people said that they like kind of heard about the book. So I am curious. I am curious. We're never gonna know the answer to this if the direction of this series changed because of ARC reviews and public opinion and the issues surrounding this book. So I feel like I didn't talk about this succinctly. I feel like I'm all over the place. So it does seem like it could be, it was semi a colonizer romance. It does seem like that. On the other hand, if you give this author all the benefits of the doubt, all of them, it potentially never was supposed to be, because it definitely reads like he's a bad guy, which we know a lot of books where the bad guy ends up being the romantic interest because they change their ways and do stuff like that and they have romantic plots. So that is the thing. But again, if we're giving the full benefit of the doubt, we're gonna say that potentially the publisher is who pushed the romantasy aspect and not the author. The author was always like, this isn't what this is supposed to be about. This is supposed to be about the historical oppression of Chinese people during this period of time. So benefit of the doubt there. And that, yeah, she just had other plans for it, and the way it was marketed and the way it came off was not exactly what she meant to do. So there is the benefit of the doubt. Like if you fully believe the author and what she is saying and the publishing team is saying now. So it's tricky because we don't know 100% like what was going through the minds of the author and the publishing team and what they were thinking when they published this book. So we're never gonna know. We're never gonna know. What this boils down to is that I don't like it. So I just didn't vibe with the idea of this, and I'm sad about it because I was hoping for the best with this one, but I definitely think a lot of people have some fair criticisms of this one. So I don't think, like, I really liked Cindy's video and it brought up a lot of why it's not a colonizer romance, and I have read a lot of stuff why it is a colonizer romance. I don't know, because I wasn't in the minds of the people who created it, so I don't know what the intentions behind this book were. So I hesitate to say either way, which again puts me in the middle, and I don't like that. But that's kind of where I'm at. I don't like to judge things, especially when I don't have all the information, and I just feel like we don't have all the information based on how weird things have gotten with everything going on. But it's just not for me. So I am classifying this as a DNF. This will not be talked about though in my wrap up because I DNF'd it before 50 pages. Oh man, I'm tired. I really didn't want to pull this on because I knew I would have to talk about it, and I just don't like talking about drama like this because a lot of times I feel like it's not in my purview to talk about. Like, I am not the represented culture here. So I feel uncomfy talking about it because it feels like it's not for me to talk about. It feels like I'm putting my 2 cents in somewhere where it's not supposed to be. So I am talking about it as well as I can without I'm not trying to overstep here. So we're just gonna call that uncomfy. Yeah, pass. We're gonna call it a pass. So far we've DNF'd 3 books. Part of me is like, yay, that's great, we DNF 3 books, so I have 3 less books and I can get rid of these. But other part of me is like, wow, I am wasting my money with Illumicrate. And that's brutal to realize because they're not cheap. Like, Illumicrate is not cheap. So I'm really hoping that we pull some that I'm actually gonna like. Where's the stupid jar? I'm stressed. I am out here stressed. Like, what if we go through all of these books because they're all DNFs? That has me very unhappy. But then they introduced me to one of my favorite books, The Book Eaters. I love The Book Eaters. So I'm hoping for that kind of situation. All right. Okay. Song of Silver Flame Like Night. I have heard better things about this one. They just released the sequel in January, I think. Just released. That was like 6 months ago. 8 months? That was like 8 months ago. So they did release the sequel earlier. I did not buy the Illumicrate edition because Illumicrate sells all of their like secondary special editions from their UK shop, and it's just so insanely expensive how much shipping is to the United States. So part of me really hopes I don't like it, because then I'm gonna have to track down the stupid Illumicrate copy if I like it. But okay, let me go find the book. I'm trying to think of where this one is. For some reason I thought it was one of those B-grade books. What are they called? They're like they're like Defy the Night, like the little tiny ones. For some reason I thought it was one of the tiny ones, but it is not. It is a full-fledged royal hardback. So, Song of Silver Flame Like Night. This sounds great. This sounds good. This sounds clear cut. I understand what the plot is gonna be. I'm excited. Oh my gosh, please. Oh, and it's so pretty. Please let me like this. I can't take it anymore. This has been such a disaster of a vlog so far. So we're gonna go. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So I did kind of start Song of Silver Flame Like Night, but I could not focus on it. I could not focus on it. I could not read it. I think I'm in a little bit of a reading slump. It's weird though. It's a weird kind of reading slump. I think I'm in a very specific mood, and that's gonna be really hard to find a book for because I've DNF'd so many things from Illumicrate, and that was really frustrating. And I think I'm enjoying sequels right now, which is not what I need for this video. This isn't a sequel video. This is trying to read my Illumicrate books that apparently I have no interest in reading. So we're pulling an Audible, and we are no longer going to be pulling from the cup. We're just not doing it because everything I pull from there, I've either DNF'd or I'm not interested in. So I am putting Song of Silver Flame Like Night aside. I am not DNFing it. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm just going to save it for later when I feel like I'm going to enjoy it. Because I don't think what I read so far from that book is bad. I think it's just not what I'm in the mood for right now. So I did just finish Throne of the Fallen, which I ended up really liking, which was a huge surprise. I was not expecting to like it. I actually at one point thought it was going to be a 5-star, but there was a couple things that I had issues with in the book that a lot of people pointed out. So I definitely agree with, like, why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about this? I'm going to talk about my wrap up, but whatever. You get, again, another little sneak peek. It definitely had more of a falling in lust instead of love. Like, I do wish there was more of the relationship in the book, and I think there was a lot of that, but it did feel a little bit more surface level than the Kingdom of the Wicked series with Emilia and Wrath. So I did think it was a little more surface level. I hope we go a little bit more into interactions instead of just being overly sexual with each other. So I still really enjoyed it. I really liked the plot. I thought the pacing was fantastic. So I actually really recommend that one if you enjoyed yourself reading Kingdom of the Wicked series. I think this is a really good expansion on the world. So technically it's its own series, Prince of Sins, but it definitely expands upon the world and is really cool. So you definitely need to read the first 3 books though. If you haven't read the Kingdom of the Wicked series and were thinking of Throne of Fallen, you really need to read the first series. Some stuff will not make sense if you don't read the first 3 books. But it's a really good expansion with good pacing, and it did not feel like it was almost 600 pages. So I enjoyed that. And I think that's part of the issue with the reading slump is I immediately started liking it from like the 2nd or 3rd page. I was already in the book, and I am not feeling that with the Illumicrate books that I've been picking up. Plus the ones that I DNF were not good. So that's why I'm kind of putting Song of Silver Flame Like Night aside and not DNFing it. I will try and read it at a different time, but I think it just isn't the right time because it's not piquing my interest super fast. So we're gonna be doing Try a Chapter. We are switching this vlog from blind picks to Try a Chapter picks because I don't know what to do, and this vlog should have been close, at least halfway done, and we are basically just starting still. I still don't have a completed book, and I have to have at least a minimum of 3, unless the book is huge, but I don't see anything in this pile that's like massive, except for maybe Little Thieves. So we're gonna attempt Try a Chapter, and I'm really hoping something piques my interest. And oh man, this could be a total flop. I'm nervous. I've never been this nervous doing a reading vlog, and I'm freaking out a little bit. Let's talk about the books that I'm going to do Try a Chapter for. I have more too. These are just what I immediately saw, and I pulled off my 2 shelves because I have 2 shelves dedicated to Illumicrate books when I did some of the rearranging, and then some of the shorter ones, like the B formats, are in other spots, so I didn't grab the B formats. These are just all the royal hardbacks that I saw off the top of my head. I saw with my eyes immediately. So it's quite a large stack. Some of them are older, which I would love to get to these older ones, but I'm kind of just going for what makes me want to continue reading after a chapter. So we're gonna be, there's so many. So we have Some Desperate Glory, River Enchanted. I am nervous about this because I am hit or miss with Rebecca Ross. Luminaries, which could be a win, and it's short. We have one of my older Illumicrates, Portrait of a Thief. So those are the first 4. Then we have Little Thieves, The Drowned Woods. This one again is another shorter one that I would really like to read. The Jasad Heir. I have heard such good things about this one that I'm like, this could be it. Voyage of the Damned. I'm very interested in trying this one. Cage a God. This one sounds really cool, although I haven't heard the best things about this one, so I may avoid this one. The Principle of Moments. Again, this is a little bit outside comfort zone. I think this is like sci-fi time travel. Then the one that I've heard like the worst things about is Fathom Folk, which is sad because it's one of the prettiest books that I own. And then Of Jade and Dragons. This is one of the newer ones. So I think, like I said, I think we're gonna start. Maybe I will do just Try a Chapter with everything, or try the first couple pages, because I'll know if I'm interested within probably about 2 or 3 pages. So I might even not even make it through the first chapter. I think we're gonna start with Voyage of the Damned, The Principle of Moments. We'll do these by 3s. And why do I want to do this one? No, let's do a shorter one. The Drowned Woods. So these are the 3 that I'm going to do Try a Chapter. I will update you if I decide to continue any of them. This is awful. This is awful. I feel like I am grasping at straws in this video. So let's attempt these 3 books. Okay, I read the first 3. Definitely not this one. I didn't like like there's some goofy writing in it already that I was not a fan of. Like it opened up like making a weird joke and I was like, yeah, this is not the mood I'm in. Next 2 are contenders. I think I'm gonna continue with this one. I was a little annoyed with this one. I feel like that's why I wanted to film it, because I wanted to give you an idea of kind of what I looked like when I was reading things and deciding if I wanted to read them. So this one had an intro, a prologue, which I don't really like prologues that much. I like just getting into the story. I hate when it opens up with like an anecdote from the childhood explaining what's going on. I get the necessity of them. I just don't necessarily love reading them. And it actually puts me off reading books. Like I'll put them down because I'm just like, I don't want to read this. I just want to get to the story, which is goofy because normally they're like a page and a half. This one was longer, but I didn't like the prologue, but I get the necessity of it. And I am intrigued. This is a maybe to read. This one, again, this one started weird again. This one started with a strange prologue, which was the beginning, the middle, and the end. I could see liking this one, but already on the first page, we introduced like a ton of, or not just the first page, but in the intro thing, in the prologue, and on the first page, it introduced a bunch of like already planet names and people names and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if my brain can handle that. So even though I am somewhat intrigued by it, I don't know if this is conducive to where my brain is at. So this is a potential later in the video. Like if I finally pick a book to read and I read it and I'm feeling good, this may be one that I could pick. But as of right now, it's a soft no. To Cage of God, The Jazad Heir, and Fathom Folk. Let's try these 3 next and I will give you my updates on them. My next 3 read, and I have good and bad news. Good and bad news. So first off, Fathom Folk. This is going to be an unhaul. This was really bad, even from the first chapter. I am not surprised this has a 3.16, I think is what it said on Goodreads. I am shocked. Number 1, there's going to be 3 different perspectives, which I already don't like. Number 2, it was just chunks of text. And like, this is bad writing. Like, look at the chunks of text. And stuff was running into each other. Like her feelings about moments were like all wrapped into one. It was hard to distinguish the thoughts of the character in like one. I'm trying to think of like exactly how to explain it. Like things were not broken up correctly. So she's talking about sarcastically saluting someone and then it jumps into a different topic, but it's all in the same paragraph. So it's very jarring. It's just written in this weird jumpy way that my brain was reading it like da 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 da. That's how my brain was reading it. And that is not how you want to be reading a book, because you will suffer through that book. So sadly, this one I'm actually going to get rid of. Next, we have To Cage of God, which also has really bad ratings. It's got a 3.3. However, I kind of liked it. The problem is it is way too complicated for my brain right now. It is going to be a whole different culture, and there were already so many different names mentioned at the beginning. It's kind of the same issue that I had with Principle of Moment. It is the Principle of Moments. I keep thinking it's Principle Moments. The Principle of Moments, same issue where there's going to be a crazy world building aspect to this that I'm not feeling right now. If I'm going to do something that has a totally different world and a tons of world building, it's going to be a book I already am in the series of. And again, like I said, that's not what's happening here. Dang, this sucks. So anyway, I am going to keep this one, but I am not going to read this one because it seems like it's going to be overly complicated for my little brain right now. Then the win is The Jazad Heir. I already loved how it was written. It was a little quirky, like not like Voyage of the Damned was cringy quirky at the beginning. This was like fun, quirky. So I could see this one being one that I read. It is quite long, and I feel like this is going to be a little more difficult to read. Not as difficult as I think of To Cage a God or Voyage of the Damned. But I am nervous about this one. So this is going on the maybe pile. So after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I read. What is happening? Oh, I haven't read that one yet. I was counting up. I kind of read it. I'm like, I've only read 6. What are you talking about? So I have found 2 potentials out of 6 that I've read so far. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. So let's read the next 3 and I'll give another update. My brain hurts. This is a fantastic group of books. I am so excited, finally. So first off, Portrait of a Thief. This is gonna be our palette cleanser. This was easy to read, interesting. This is like a heist mystery kind of book, like art thief kind of thing. I think I'm gonna pick this one. I think I'm going to go ahead and pick the Drowned Woods. So that's 2, and I need a 3rd, which is now, we're coming to the difficult part. Because yes, I want to read Little Thieves. It looks like it sounds so good, but I think it's also very dense. So I don't think this would be the best one for this video, but I'm going to put it on maybe. I'm going to put it with a Jasad Air. And then another one going on the maybe pile is of Jade and Dragons. I actually liked how this opened up. I like the weird mechanical stuff that's going on at the beginning because we've got airships and stuff. I think that's really interesting. So this is also going on the maybe pile. 3 chunky books. 3 chunky books. Next up, our last 3, because we have enough in here. I'm not going to go get more books out of the extra room because I have enough to pick from. So we're going to pick from these books. So the last 3 that we're going to be trying are Some Desperate Glory, A River Enchanted, and The Luminaries. So hopefully I kind of have a clear-cut winner after this, because otherwise we're going to have to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And that never goes well. That was pretty fast because I definitely was not, I didn't even get a hint of interest from Some Desperate Glory or surprisingly A River Enchanted. I feel like my brain just immediately wanted to go the path of least resistance. The 3 shortest books on this list, it wanted them. My brain wanted them, but also I was kind of bored by the first chapter of this, like immediately. And this one again was just gonna be a little complicated to read. And I was already like, what's happening? My brain needs more time to comprehend sci-fi than other things. So it was not like having the best time. So I am gonna pick, and Luminaries, it's gonna be an easy young adult book. So this is where we're at. We are going to be reading, hopefully, Portrait of a Thief, The Drowned Woods, and The Luminaries. And we're probably going to be going in order. So I'm probably going to be picking up The Drowned Woods first. I feel like I've been through a war. Like, I actually have been through a war. I'm going to talk about them later. I don't even have them with me. They're in the other room. I started The Drowned Woods and I read 20% of it. It's not good. It is not good. It is the most mid book that I've read in a while. Like, it is so not well done. Like, it feels like a draft that was sent to the publisher. Here's my basic outline. I'll give personality to the characters and spruce up the dialogue later. That's what I'll do. And then it never happened. The characters interacting with each other are so cringy. It's so uncomfortable. There is no spark between any character. It like jumps from like point to point. It jumps from conversation to conversation. It's just so unpolished and uninspiring, and it is so beyond boring, and it's so not good. This won't get anything higher than a 3, so I'm not continuing. I am DNFing the Drowned Woods. That means I'm getting rid of my Illumicrate copy and my Alcrate copy, which is something. And once I find it, who knows where it is, I'm going to go get rid of my copy of The Bone Houses by the same author. I literally don't care. I don't care. Apparently they're connected at the end, but I don't care. I'm never going to read it. After reading this, I'm never going to read it. If I'm going to read another Emily Lloyd Jones, it will be a newer release. I'm not going to go backwards in time. This is not going to happen. So that was awful. So when I DNF'd that last night, I was like, okay, I can't really sleep. So I had a rough night last night. I probably got 5 hours of sleep. And for me, that is really, really bad. Like, if I don't get, like, at least 7 or 8, I'm not doing well. That's autoimmune stuff, etc. I'm not doing well. And so my skin is so mad this morning. My brain is foggy. Everything sucks this morning. But that did mean, because I wasn't tired last night, that I did attempt to start the next book, Portrait of a Thief. And I started it and I was like, And then I got the audiobook and I was like, oh, this is even worse. This is even worse. Continue reading a little bit in that one, but I don't like it. I don't like how it's written. The setup is goofy as hell. Like, I really like the idea behind it because it's supposed to be like a heist book. So it's like Ocean's 11, but colonialism and talking about stolen art from countries who didn't give you access to their art and you took it anyway. And there's a long history of that happening. I was like, okay, this is gonna be so cool. This is gonna be really cool art thieves, and we're gonna be doing this and this and this and this. And it opens up with like someone who like works at the museum like seeing it and then being invited to become a thief. And I'm like, this is so implausible. like I get you're supposed to suspend some disbelief, but I'm just like, this is goofy. Like, you would never find Frank Ocean inviting some random person off the street that they didn't know into becoming part of this crazy high stakes heist group. That is bizarre. That is so bizarre, especially when there's no actual like talent. Maybe later we find out that they were a thief in a previous life, but it's goofy. It is goofy. And then they've introduced this girl he just happens to know who's like a hacker and she can hack anything. And it's like, this is goofy. And then a person who just happens to be a really good driver because they went to a race one night and got into the scene. And I'm like, okay, that is the least probably goofy of the three, but it's just goofy. It was goofy and the writing was very choppy again. And it was so not good. What is going on with these books not being able to be edited? I feel like books are not being edited. Like, this is trash. I am reading literal trash and it has put me into such a bad reading slump that I'm actually going to be ending the vlog. I know this is crazy. I don't know if this has ever been done before. It hasn't on my channel. I at least read one. I have read no books. I had no books. I am like stunned as to what has happened because I think I've DNF'd 5. Yeah, I gotta end it. It's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. I need to go through the rest of the Illumicrate books like on my own time and see if I need to get rid of my subscription, because I'm thinking I need to get rid of my subscription because I hated everything that I read and like legitimately didn't like it. Legitimately just didn't think it was well written, well done. And I hate agreeing with Goodreads because Goodreads has a lot of problems, but pretty much everything on Goodreads agreed with that. Like, everything was just mediocre or just flat out bad. And that's so disappointing. It's so sad. So I am going to be ending this vlog because I am in such a bad reading slump. I don't know what is going to fix it because the thought of reading makes me want to hurl, which is really sad. It's so sad. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do. I really debated with myself. Over the past hour if I wanted to attempt to read another book, if I really wanted to try to go into the luminaries and read another book. And I don't. I really don't. So I am ending it here, which is insane. It's insane. I can't believe this has happened. Like, I feel betrayed. I feel like books betrayed me. So let's go through a little recap. What did I even read first, or attempt to read? Because I didn't read a single thing. Well, I mean, I read a bunch of stuff. If you tallied up all the pages that I read in each individual book, it would make a whole book. So technically, I did read a full book. But I believe we started with The Sun and the Void, and I don't know how this one ended up being like the most interesting. I just didn't like the writing style or the density of this world, and it's just too much. Like, that's what this one comes down to. The Sun and the Void is just too much. It was too ambitious. The writer, who is a debut author, really needed to just tone down their first book and do something a little simpler. That way they kind of just got like their grips into writing and editing and all that type of stuff, and then move on to something more challenging. Next up, I believe we tried Witch King. Yes, Witch King. Just not my vibe. It's like mid fantasy to high fantasy. I know probably some people are going to disagree with me, but again, the density of the writing, just the style of writing, the detached way of writing is just not, how many times can I say writing in this video, is not what I look for in fantasy books. Next, we attempted to gaze upon wicked gods. This is just not the book. This is not it. I'm not gonna re-go over the stuff that I've already hashed out. It's just not very good. Even discounting all of the drama surrounding it, it's just not very well written, and it's not a plot line that I enjoy. And then we attempted The Drowned Woods. It was just bad. It was the most beginner feeling fantasy that I've ever read, I think, and it was just not a good time. It was not a good time. The characters, again, were very flat. It felt like the plot line was moving at breakneck pace while also nothing happening at the same time. I don't know how else to explain it, but I think it's because nothing really was happening, but characters were moving from one location to another location very quickly, so it felt like a lot of stuff was happening, but nothing was actually happening. The dialogue probably is what really made me not want to continue in the book. The dialogue between the characters was so cringy, and I just did not want to read 300 more pages of this, because I think I DNF'd this around 70 pages, and I cannot see, I sat there for a second and I was like, can you see yourself reading another 300 pages of this book? And I was like, wow, that sounds like torture because this is not getting higher than a 3. So it's not happening. So yeah, this was a sad DNF because I thought I was really, really going to like this. And I also have the Bone Houses upstairs. And like I said, I'm not going to read the Bone Houses now. So that is a 2 for 1 getting rid of. And then our final one is in the same situation as To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. It is not technically a DNF. This is the last time you're going to be seeing this because it will not be in my wrap up because I only read like 20, 30 pages, and it's got to be 50 pages at least before I count it as a real DNF. And this one was just such a good concept. It had such a good concept with such poor execution. So again, I think it was doing a really good job of talking about the colonialism aspect of it, but it didn't do anything else well. The heist was so bizarre. I'm not going to go into it again. You guys heard it earlier, but it was just goofy. It was goofy, but not in like it's supposed to be goofy. It was goofy as in it didn't work. It was not a good time, and I would not have I wouldn't have enjoyed continuing this. So that leaves us with 5 DNFs, 3 of which will be talked about again in my wrap up. Oh, you know what I want to do? We're going to audit Alumicrate right now. We're going to do that. If you guys have stuck around to the end of this video, we're going to look at our updated Illumicrate stats because I haven't looked at updated stats in a while. So we're going to look at our updated stats and see how bad it's gotten. So let's go through and add all of these DNFs. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. And so I do keep track of DNFs versus what I've rated things. And I also, in the DNFs, I also count books that I just unhauled because I'm not interested in them. So many DNFs. So updated, our starting average before I started this whole project like a year ago or 2 years ago was a 3.5. My updated rating is a 3.1. So it's only just going down. Oh my goodness. And then how many DNFs do I have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 DNFs. So what is the percentage of read that I've attempted reading to DNFs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I've attempted to read 23. I have DNF'd 56% of books I've attempted to read from Illumicrate. That's so bad. That's so bad. What am I supposed to do with that? That is so awful. I don't think they pick good books. But really, I'm looking at these books and I'm just like, the quality is kind of ass. Like, I feel bad saying that because, like, you want debut authors, you want this, but you have to have a good mix of, like, they have to be good. That's what I'm struggling with here, is these books are not good. Like, their Goodreads ratings are all so low. Like, some of them are so low. Like, how, like, there is one that I'm not going to read, so actually I need to mark that one too. We All Fall Down has like a 2.1, and it's by an author who really, apparently it's just like all of their books are trauma against gay men, and apparently it's really traumatizing to read, so I'm not gonna read that one. Come on, like, how are some of these books getting past your readers? Like, how are you picking these books? I think book boxes need to have a little bit more transparency, especially looking at these statistics. It's bad. It's really, really bad. I would probably have better luck not DNFing something, just picking something up at the library, just randomly off the shelf. I'd probably have better luck, because this is 60% DNFing. 60% DNF rate. Anyway, that is everything I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, even though it was basically just misery almost the whole video. Anyway, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future of these book box things that we do, book box catch-up vlogs. The idea behind these is to eventually get caught up that I'm reading the books as I'm getting them. That would be amazing. But I am so far behind. I did skip 2 boxes for, what is next month? October. I did skip 2. I skipped the adult Alcrate because I think it was a romantasy that I'm not interested in. And then I skipped the, I think, romantasy fairy loot because, again, I wasn't interested in the spice level and the topic. So I'm down to my last skip, I think, with fairy loot romantasy. So that could be, I could be ending that soon. But yeah, so I did skip those, so you won't see those in an upcoming unboxing, sadly. I can't buy books. I can't get books that I don't like. I can't do it. I'm trying to purge my books, not get more of them. So anyway, like I said, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that future content and book box things. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, and definitely make sure to comment down below if you read any of these books, what you thought about them, if you've read some other Illumicrate books I haven't gotten to yet, if you have any recommendations of some that I haven't gotten to yet. And yeah, that is everything I have for you today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.